Oh hi, didn't see you there. So I've read a lot of books in my life. Some have been about money, others have been about habit building, 999, and some for fun. Expelliarmus!
Reading is one of the most important foundational habits that has laid the groundwork for the success I've had in life. Reading has allowed me to shift my perspective, be open to new ideas, and change how I view the world. But I wasn't always a reader. Growing up, I actually despised reading. The assigned readings in class never excited me. All I wanted to do when I got home was play video games. I even remember going to the library and being excited to rent movies rather than books. This all changed in high school when my brother, who was in college at the time, explained the importance of reading to me and my younger sister. First, I started reading manga, self-help books, and sports autobiographies. I've since added fun fiction novels to my arsenal. I'm 24 now, and since that moment when I was a sophomore in high school, I've read a ton of books.
So today I wanted to share with you 5 books that have impacted me the most. To get things started, let's start with number 1, Think and Grow Rich. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, how can you recommend this book in 2023? I know Napoleon Hill has gotten a lot of slack recently, but I think this is one of the most foundational books you can read if you're in the self-help space. One of the biggest takeaways I got from this book was the idea of visualizing your goals and the law of attraction. Now I don't think you can just get by with using the law of attraction. You need to actually put in the physical work, but I do think there's a lot of weight and a lot of value in visually manifesting your goals and making them into reality. It's all about creating that high vibrational energy and putting it out into the world. Now there isn't a lot of data or science to back up the studies about law of attraction, but when I look back at my own goals that I've achieved, a lot of it has come down to me being able to visualize the end goal. Now going back to the book, I do think some of the language is a bit outdated, but if you have the chance, I think it is well worth the read. Number 2, Give and Take. Now this is another book I've mentioned a lot in the past, and the biggest takeaway here is about the value you can get in life by being a giver rather than a taker. At the time I read this, which was around 2018 during my sophomore year of college, I didn't go into a lot of situations with the mindset of being a giver or taker, but when I look back on it, during those professional networking opportunities, I did have that mindset of a taker. I was focused on what others could bring value to me rather than focusing on the value I can give to others. Since reading the book, I've been much more cognizant about where my energy is headed during these professional networking opportunities. And just recently, when I started my freelance photography business in 2023, I did a free photo shoot for one of my friends. And after the photo shoot, he was actually able to recommend me to one of his other friends who was looking for someone to take their graduation photos. After setting that up, I was able to get my first paid photo client. So it just shows you how much value you can get in life by being a giver. Number 3, Atomic Habits. I mean, was it going to be an impactful book list without this one? But in all seriousness, this book has gave me a clear and actual roadmap on how to build better habits and how to eliminate bad ones. And one of the biggest takeaways is how your environment can play a key role into your habit building. For example, let's say your TV and PlayStation are right next to your desk, which it is for me. It can be very visually tempting to start playing games because you see the PlayStation controllers and the remote, which is your visual cue. But by removing the console or unplugging it, you are now creating enough friction from you to start doing that habit. Another way this works is by going to a new location to stop procrastinating. This can either be a coffee shop or a library, because in those two areas, you know exactly what you need to do. You know when you enter that space, you're either going to study or read. Number 4, the Harry Potter books. Now this book series is so special to me, not because I read them as a child, but because they were the first fiction books I read as an adult. It showed me how okay it is to start reading fiction as an adult. And as someone with a self-development YouTube channel, I'll argue that reading fiction is actually really beneficial for you in the long term. But going back to the book, one of the best things I love about it is the imagination aspect of it. Now I read the books first before I watched the movie, so while reading the books, I started to gain this picture or gain this imaginative thought about what the characters look like and what the environment looked like. And just having that imagination bring back to you as an adult is something really special. And there's no better feeling than when fall hits and you open up the Sorcerer's Stone with a warm blanket and a cup of hot chocolate and get lost in the space of Harry Potter. Number 5, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Now this is one of the best personal finance books that I've read that I actually need to read again. And at the time I read this, which was around 2019, I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad and a Clark Howard book, but this was one of the first practical personal finance books I read. And one of the biggest reasons I love it is because I love Ramit's philosophy when it comes to money. His philosophy is spend big on things you love and cut back ferociously on the things you don't. See, too many of us, myself included, get caught up in the consumerism lifestyle. We start purchasing a bit of everything, but what if we all took a step back and just asked ourselves, what if we just spent big on the things we love? And by using this approach, I've been able to spend things on the things I like and then cut out on all the things that I don't like. If you were to ask anyone what the most impactful books they've read, they would all give you different answers. And that's the great thing about books. And now if you were to ask me this question a year from now, my top 5 list will probably look different, and that's okay. That's the whole point about growing and evolving as a human being. Your interests change, your priorities change. So I would love to hear the 5 books that have impacted you the most in the comments below. So my last message here is to keep on reading and opening your mind to new ideas. With love and respect, Yash.